Welcome to your first experience with what is known as the D.I.D podcast. And I, your host, Casina Baduk, host council member, would like to first introduce myself. As you would know us, we're known as the Valerian Legion. We've been on YouTube since about 2013, 2014. And we've done a lot of podcasting behind the scenes, I want to say. Mostly YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. We are a dungeon master / game master, which is basically just someone who does tabletop RPGs, role-playing games. It's kind of like gaming, but without a video game. So we've been doing that since 2012, pretty much. Voice acting for all the characters. We have our own homebrew campaign, and we just kind of finally realized that we needed to be a little more open about our dissociative identity disorder. Now, if you don't know what that is, I don't recommend Googling it. Unfortunately, the internet has a lot of misinformation. There is a lot of different theories for how DID happens. You're welcome to look up all the different models. I am actually planning on becoming a therapist, and I'm going back to school currently. And the things that you should probably know is, number one, it's not rare. It's a lot more common than you think. You're welcome to fact check me on all of this stuff. And I do encourage that always, and if I get finding out that I've gotten something wrong, I'm always open to learning more. But dissociation is kind of like when you get in a car and you drive somewhere where you've been before, and you get from point A to point B and you don't even remember the trip. It's just that encoded in your brain, and you kind of didn't recognize the surroundings or anything because you've already been on this path multiple times or more. That's a rough estimate of what dissociation's like. But there's also the feeling of the room's not real, or the world's not real, or people are not real. That really sucks. It's hard to explain. It's just like everything's plastic. It feels like you're in a movie set. It doesn't feel like people are actually talking to you. It's more like they're talking around you. And it kind of feels like that feeling of like being in a room and you don't feel like you're really part of the room. There's also the feeling of not being real. Kind of feeling like you're a cartoon character or a video game character or like in a Skyrim kind of setting, and you don't really feel like you have your own autonomy, and you just kind of feel like you're just going through the motions. That's another type of dissociation. It's depersonalization and derealization. I don't remember which is which. Still learning. And dissociative amnesia. Now, there have been so many movies on these things. So one of the big ones I want to say is Split. Everyone remembers Split. Sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit. I'm a little nervous. I haven't done one of these things before. And anyways, as you can tell, there is a lot going on inside my brain, hence this podcast. But essentially, dissociative amnesia is a state in which you don't remember parts of your life. It's like completely blank. It's like you went through something traumatic and then you just don't remember it. And then there's dissociative identity disorder. Now, there's a lot of theories of that the brain is not fully developed when you're a child, and that we're already dissociative to begin with, and that as we grow, we start to merge all the different pieces of ourself into one identity. But there is also a lot of arguments for the fact that maybe we're always different people within ourselves. We all wear different hats. In fact, there's a therapy called internal family systems that even goes about this kind of stuff. And if you want, I really, really recommend If you're more interested in learning more about dissociative disorders, trauma just makes it worse. And that's been the presiding data that's been backed up. And the fact that the experts here in America can't even agree on that sounds like a problem. Perhaps we will never fully, truly understand the brain, because there's parts of the brain that we have no idea what it does. And you can look that up and find out the statistics on that. I'm not going to quote it. So essentially, we have been D.I.D our entire life, and we have been a very large system. So think of D.I.D as different parts of myself. Although we don't identify as a core identity, we've never had one. We each have our own personalities, sense of style, taste, age, interests, favorite TV shows, favorite movies, favorite colors, even birth dates. And we each believe we have our own soul also. As you can imagine, we are a big, big system. Whether it's due to trauma or just... It's probably due to trauma, I'll be honest. Let's see, some other things. We have an inner world, which is basically the inner world is the inside of your brain, where you have imagination. We created a kind of our own universe, essentially, once we found out how to do this. And so, welcome to Mythica Nixrian universe. It lives inside our brain. And each week, we will have council meetings, and we'll introduce each other and try to explain different parts of our universe to you, kind of understand us a little better. So this is just a rough get it out there podcast, just so that you can get to know us. So I'm the first alternate personality that you're meeting. When we front within what's a command center. And inside our brain, we have a ship, and that's where we front at. And imagine, there was actually a really good movie that came out in recent past years. And I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like Emotions. It was based on different emotions inside Riley's brain. You probably know what I'm talking about. That's essentially what D.I.D is like. It's a lot of different things, and sum it up in just one single podcast. So I will try to attempt to do a second podcast where I explain a little more about D.I.D and what it's like, and also introduce you to each of us council members, so you can get to know what we're like, just so that you can understand the different situations that we go through and how hectic and crazy it can be at times. And I don't like using that term because it's Satanism. And welcome to our brain. I'm not very good at my evil laugh. So I'm the first council member you're meeting. I'm what's known as a host alternate personality. And hosts are usually ones that front the most. And they're usually more responsible for the different situations going on in life. Paying the bills, driving a car. We're all adults. Always. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses. For me, Cassina, my name's Cassina Buduk. I like pink. I love Hello Kitty. I love makeup and jewelry, and I love shopping. I did love Taylor Swift until I found out how horrible she is. Rich white people, who knows? Let's see, what else? I'm a social butterfly. I love butterflies. I really, really love perfume, and we'll get into the more detailed things about relationships. I don't have a sister or a brother, inner world, and I really, really don't like abusive people. I'm very anti-abuse, anti-transphobic, racism and bigotry. And one of the biggest things I kind of want to talk about is the reality is that we are not the most unique system in the world, but we are uniquely us. And people tend to play favorites with us when they date us or they become friends with us, and that's not cool. Everybody, I understand, has their favorite child, but you shouldn't tell your child or your children who your favorite child is. It's just not appropriate. So that is it for this first podcast. We're going to put up the next podcast immediately. Council meeting that happened yesterday. It was hectic as crazy. Oh my gosh, there was lots of intrigue, and we will slowly start to explain who is who going forward. Well, welcome to the mind fuck that is the Valerian Legion, and you're welcome.